Let's kickstart the newscast with the latest coming in from Sri Lanka, as the country's Muslim Council has now issued guidelines to promote common Sri Lankan identity. The Lankan Muslim Council has put restrictions on Azan and has asked for removal of Arabic signboards. This is the latest coming in from Sri Lanka. And to bring us more details on this news story, I'm joined in by Principal Diplomatic Correspondent Siddhant Sibal, who's joining us live from New Delhi. Let's quickly go across to Siddhant. Siddhant, the Muslim minority is now in the line of fire in Sri Lanka. This is something which was already foreseen post the Easter bombing attacks. And now the Muslim Council of Sri Lanka has come out with a set of recommendations. Please elaborate them for our viewers.
Well, the groups there in Sri Lanka, the Muslim groups in Sri Lanka, have been supporting government's efforts after the attack which took place on 21st last month, in which we saw the government also saying that they will be coming out with a law soon. The draft has been prepared regarding the banning of the veil. It's the first South Asian country to do so. So this is being supported by the Muslim groups there. But now the Muslim groups have gone further and they have come out with a set of guidelines for the Muslim population, and these set of guidelines include that the Azan, the volume of Azan should be at a certain level. Also, the building of new mosques should be undertaken only by certain recommendations. Also, they are focusing on the common Sri Lankan identity. This is important because this shows that how the population, though the Muslims only are about 10% of the Sri Lankan population, are supporting government's efforts to make sure that peace prevails in the island in the aftermath of those terror attacks, because they themselves have said that they do not support what has happened, and of course they have said that they will not they did not accept the bodies of the bombers as well.
Right, absolutely. This is a cooperation which is much needed for the Sri Lankan government at the moment. But important to talk about, Siddhant, like how there was always peace prevailing between these two minority communities, and we're talking about the Christians and Muslims, and what the Easter bombings have managed to do is drive a wedge between these two minority communities. It's also important to talk about how this is the first time Sri Lanka is witnessing such sectarian violence.
Well, of course, it's at a major scale, because we are getting reports also how rioting is taking place in Sri Lanka. But all in all, if we look at the situation in Sri Lanka, even during the LTT insurgency, this kind of situation was never seen when two minorities are pitted against each other. And now it's very well clear that Islamic State had a major role to play in radicalization of the bombers. Remember, these bombers were from a good strata of the society. They were from upper middle class. Many of them were foreign educated, and they were radicalized outside the country. So clearly right now the minority population, as well as the other stakeholders in the entire peace in Sri Lanka, are supporting government's efforts to make sure that the island doesn't go the other way, in a sense that there is the destruction of peace which had prevailed for last 10 years in the aftermath of the end of insurgency by the LTTE.
Right. Siddhant, last but not the least, it's also important to discuss the role of social media in fanning communal violence in Sri Lanka, because let's not forget that it was a Facebook post that led to the clashes. Is a temporary shutdown on social media enough?
Well, social media has been playing a key role when it comes to spreading of fake news, something that is seen everywhere in the world. And to make sure that there is no spread of fake news, the government has banned the social media, even though there are proxies available and people can see social media. But it's not easy to use social media despite using proxies. But by and large, banning of social media is part of government strategy to make sure that the situation does not spiral into much more worse condition which Sri Lanka is right now facing, especially in the aftermath of riots which Sri Lanka is seeing.
Absolutely, and much still to be done by the government. Thank you so much, Siddhant Sibal, for bringing us all the latest on Sri Lanka. Now,